Hello everyone, welcome back. In the last lecture we have discussed about electrical charge, Coulomb's law in the electrostatics and also electric field intensity. In this class we will work on some problems based on the Coulomb's law of force and also electric field. Let us see. So this is a given question. The question has 4 parts. The first part is two equal charges of magnitude are placed on x-axis at x is equal to a and minus a. Find the electric field intensity at a point 0, y. And the second one is, in the above problem, find the force experienced by a point charge minus q, which is placed on the y-axis at a distance of y. And the third bit is, describe the motion of a point charge minus q placed on the y-axis if y is much less than a and y is much greater than a. And the fourth one is, at what value of y the force on the charge, which is a minus q, placed on the y-axis is maximum. So these are 4 bits. So let us see one by one. Before going into the solving this problem, I would like to give you the required formulas to solve this problem. The first one is Coulomb's law of force. Coulomb's law means if we have two charges q1, q2 are separated by a distance r, then Coulomb states that the force of attraction or repulsion between the two charge carriers F is directly proportional to product of two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That means F is directly proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square. If you replace the proportionality constant, we can write F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. And the direction of force is, this force is a vector along the line joining the two charges. This is the Coulomb's law of force between the two charges. And also, if you wanted to write the electric field for any charge, let us consider electric field of a point charge q at a distance r. That means we have a point charge q. If you wanted to find out that at this distance r the electric field, at this point what is the electric field? Simply the electric field can be defined, the force experienced by a unit positive charge at that point is called electric field intensity. That means F is equal to QE. So E is equal to F by Q. That means the electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. This is also vector quantity, so we can write R cap. This is the electric field intensity equation. So the electric field at this point due to this charge is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R square. Here this Q is a unit test positive charge, so it will be 1 into Q. So it's 1 unit of charge. So Q1 Q2 by Q, Q1 Q2 by Q. So we cancels Q. So rest is only 1 Q. So these two are the formulas that we use in this problem. Let us see. So the first problem is two equal charges of magnitude Q, let's consider Q, are placed on x-axis. They are placing two charges on x-axis at a distance x is equal to a and x is equal to minus a. And also they are asking us to find out the electric field intensity at a point 0, y. That means on the y-axis at a distance y. So let us consider an x-axis. This is the x-axis and y-axis. Now as per the question, two equal charges q are placed. This is the first charge, this is the second charge, are placed on the x-axis at a distance x is equal to a and x is equal to minus a. That means from the center to here, the distance between the center origin to charge 1 is of a, and from center to charge 2 is a. Right? These two are the two charges as per the description. Now they are asking us to find out the electric field at some point on the y-axis. That some point is here. This is the point where electric field needs to be found out. So here, that means the distance here is from origin to here is y. So the position of this point is 0, y. Now this is the place we need to find out electric field produced by this charge and also the electric field produced by this charge. Now let us consider the electric field produced by charge 1 at this point is E1. And the direction of this electric field is the line joining from here to here. That means in this direction. This is the electric field generated by the first charge at this point, and the direction of electric field is in this direction. That is the E1. And also this electric field line making an angle with respect to the y-axis is theta. Let theta be the angle between the electric field and electric field produced by the charge 1 with respect to the y-axis. Similarly, the electric field produced by charge 2 at this point is shown here. You can see here, this is the electric field produced by this charge E2. So E2 bar is the electric field produced by the charge 2 at the point 0, y, and the direction is in this direction. Here also, if this is the theta, similarly this is also theta because the distances, these two charges are symmetric from origin. That means from here to here the distance is a, from here to here the distance is a, and they both are symmetric about the origin with the same charges. So the angle here is also theta obviously. Now two electric fields, one is in this direction, one is in this direction, are acting on the same point. So how to find out the total electric field? We know that if two discrete charges are there, then we can apply principle of superposition, right? Before applying principle of superposition, let us see, this is the E2 direction, this is the E1 direction. So let us resolve this into different components, right? So to resolve this into different components, you can see here, this is a theta means this will also become theta. If this is a theta, then here also it will be theta. And now this will be, this is the right angle triangle. Here from here to here to here, this is the right angle triangle. And if you wanted to resolve this E1 component into this direction, y direction and x direction, if you see here, this is the right angle triangle. So we can write, so cos theta is equal to adjacent side by E1. E1. So the adjacent side on the y-axis, that means adjacent side is equal to E1 cos theta. So that means this electric field E1 can be resolved into the y-axis is E1 cos theta in this direction. So obviously in this direction, it will be E1 sin theta. So now this electric field is resolved into two components. The first component is here E1 cos theta, and the second component is E2 E1 sin theta. Simply here also you can use, if you take this as a perpendicular, now this is a right angle triangle from here to here to here. Sin theta is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse, that is E1. So opposite side is equal to E1 sin theta. So that's how we wrote E1 sin theta here. Now this electric field is no more. This is actually converted into E1 cos theta, E1 sin theta. Similarly, we can also resolve this E2 electric field, which is produced by charge 2 at this point in both x and y directions. So similarly, if this is a theta here, this will also be theta here. Now if you resolve this E2 into horizontal and vertical components, then the vertical component will be E2 cos theta similarly, and then horizontal component will be E2 sin theta. Now we have resolved all the things. We only need to find out the total electric field at this point. That means vector sum of all the components of the electric field, right? But if you see here, when you see here the electric field from this point, two components are in the vertical direction, one component in the negative x-axis, one component is in the positive x-axis. Just remember this. Now we can also write, see here this is a theta, this is the y, and this is the a. So this is actually a right angle triangle. This is another right angle triangle. Now the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle is side square plus side square, that is y square a square. So hypotenuse is root of a square plus y square. Similarly, this side also we can write root of a square plus y square. So the electric field due to charge 1 at y is given by, we have written the electric field is represented with E1 bar, which is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into the charge q by r square. R is the distance here between these two points. The distance is under square root of a square plus y square. So r square means we can write a square plus y square, and then this, let's represent, this is r1 cap, this is the r1 direction just for sake, and this could be r2 direction. This is the electric field that is produced by the charge at this point. Now the electric field produced at y because of charge 2 is, we represented this with E2 bar. E2 bar is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This is also charge q by, the distance between the charge to the point is root of a square plus y square. So q by r square means we can write a square plus y square. And here this is a r2 cap. Now if you see here in both cases, except the direction, the magnitude of the electric field produced by the charge 1 and the electric field produced by the charge 2 is same. Both are same except the direction. That means the magnitude of E1 and magnitude of E2 is same. That means the magnitude of E1 is equal to the magnitude of E2. So we can write E1 is equal to E2. Now we already know that if you wanted to find out total electric field at this point, you can see here two electric field components are in this direction, that is E1 cos theta, E2 cos theta, and then one component is in the positive x-axis and then one electric component is in negative x-axis. And if you see here, magnitude of E2 and magnitude of E1 both are same, and that means E2 sin theta is exactly equal to E1 sin theta. So the both are in opposite direction. So what we can do, when you vector sum, these two components will be cancelling each other. So the resultant electric field is only in this direction, that is E1 cos theta, E2 cos theta. So due to the symmetry of charge distribution, that means both charges are at the same distance from the origin, all the horizontal components of the electric fields are cancels each other, and the remaining is only vertical components. So the total electric field at this point Y is now can be written E bar is equal to E1 cos theta plus E2 cos theta. This direction is Y direction, so Y cap. Now we can write, since E1 is equal to E2, so we can even simplify this. E bar is equal to, this is the field at 0, by 2E1 cos theta Y cap. Since we know that E1 bar is equal to E2 bar, magnitudes. So now E bar is equal to 2 into E1 we know, substitute 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by A square plus Y square into cos theta Y cap. Now we can actually get the cos theta value from this triangle. You can see here, this is the right angle triangle, and the cos theta in this triangle is, cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. So we can write cos theta is equal to Y by root of A square plus Y square from this triangle. So let us substitute cos theta value in this equation. So that means, so E bar is equal to 2 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q by A square plus Y square into cos theta value Y by square root of A square plus Y square. Now we can write E bar is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into 2qy by A square plus Y square into A square plus Y square whole power by 2. We can write A square plus Y square whole power 3 by 2 into Y cap. This is a unit vector along the Y direction. So this is the total electric field at point 0, Y on the Y axis. This is the electric field equation. This is how we can derive electric field for this kind of charge distribution. Now let us see for the second question. Second question is, in the above question, find the force experienced by a point charge minus q placed on the y axis at a distance y. So here we are keeping, now this charge is minus q. We are keeping minus q charge. Now they are asking us to find out the force of attraction between the positive charge, negative charge in both directions. So we know that already electric field. Here the total electric field at this point is E bar is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2qy into 2qy by A square plus Y square whole power 3 by 2 into Y cap. Now we know that the force equation F is equal to minus q into E. So the force acting on the charge minus q is equal to minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2q into q. This q is multiplied into the electric field equation into y by A square plus Y square whole power 3 by 2. So this is the force experienced by the negative charge which is placed on the y axis at a point 0, y. Simply we use force is equal to F is equal to minus q into E bar. Now this is the force, very simple. Once you know the force equation, you get electric field. Once you know the electric field, you can also get force equation. Either way it is possible with this equation. Now in the above problem, describe the motion of a point charge minus q placed on the y axis if y is much less than a and y is much greater than a. let us see. The force, we already know, derive the force. The force is equal to minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2q cube into y by a square plus y square whole power 3 by 2. Now, this is the description of the charges. This is the q. This is another charge. And here, minus q. Now, if you see here, the direction of force is, this is the plus q. This is the plus q. So, there is a force of attraction between them. So, now the direction of force is in this direction. This is also in this direction. Now, if you resolve these two into horizontal and vertical components, for this force F1, this is the F2 force, and if you resolve these two forces, you again get cancel these horizontal components, you only left with vertical components. Now, if y is less than a, if y is less than a, what happens? That means this is the distance between the charges A, this is Z, this is A. That means the distance between the two charges is 2A. If y is less than a, that means the charge which is placed on the y-axis is very small. The distance between them is very small. That means when you compare with the distance between the two charges, the charge which is placed on the y-axis is very small, then we can neglect y value. So we can write this equation, F bar is equal to minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2q into y by, we are neglecting y value in the denominator, so it will be a square whole power 3 by 2. So square root 3 by 2 will be cancelled, which is left with a cube. That means if you see here 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is constant, 2q cube is constant, a is the distance between them is constant. Now that means the force is directly proportional to displacement. Force is directly proportional to displacement, that is displacement in the negative direction. So what is this called? The force is directly proportional to the displacement in the negative direction. What is this called? If you see force is directly proportional to displacement, then if you disrupt the system, then the system will execute a simple harmonic motion like this way. It executes a simple harmonic motion like this. Now this is the charge Q, first charge. This is the charge Q, second charge. Now you are keeping, and this is the A, this is the A. Now when it compared to A distance, the y distance, that means in this direction the y distance is very, very small. This is a minus q. Now what happens is, we already have seen the resultant force direction is towards this direction. This is because there is a force of attraction will be in this direction. There is a force of attraction will be there. This is the F1, this is the F2. Now the resultant of F1 and F2 will be, F will be in this direction, negative y direction. Now if you disrupt this one, what happens is, it will move towards a down direction because force is directly proportional to negative displacement of between them. That means negative force is directly proportional to y, but it is in the negative direction. That means this will be in this direction. Now what happens? Because of this force, this charge will move to here. Now what happens? Now you can see here, now the force in this direction here. Now force on this charge because of this one is here. This is the F1, this is the F2. Now the resultant of F1 and F2 from the downside again towards this direction. This is the resultant force. That means now this charge actually moves from center to here and back to here. That means it exhibits a simple harmonic motion between the two charges from y to y distance. That means force is always a negative displacement, directly proportional to negative displacement. So that means the force here which pulls towards the downside, and again when it comes to downside, the force again pulls towards the center. This kind of force exhibits only in the simple harmonic motion. So that means this particle, this charge minus q exhibits a simple harmonic motion. Now, what happens if y is greater than a? If y is greater than a, then we can neglect a value. Simply, so we can write f bar is equal to minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2q into y by y square whole power 3 by 2, which will be y cube. Now, if you see here, y square will be cancelled, so the resultant is f bar is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2q by y square y cap. That means force is directly proportional to 1 by y square. 1 by y square. That means this is the inverse square law. So force exhibits inverse square law. Now from the previous equation we know that if y is less than a, then force is directly proportional to minus y. If y is greater than a, f is inversely proportional to 1 by y square. That means we know that under small oscillations we have a force is directly proportional to displacement. If the distance is more, then the force follows inverse square law. Then at what distance of y the force will be get maximum value? That is the fourth question. So let us find out the maximum value. So the force acting on the charge is F is equal to minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2q qy by a square into a square plus y square whole power 3 by 2. This is what we got already from the second part. Now if you wanted to find out the maximum force, at what distance the maximum force is, we simply have to find out df by dr is equal to 0. To get the maximum and minimum positions, first thing is the first derivative of the force should be 0 and the second derivative of the force should be less than 0. Then we get the maximum value. So for this one, for maximum force, first one is df by dy is equal to 0. So let us do this df by dy in this equation. So we can get, so minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is constant, 2q is also constant. So y is a variable, here also y is a variable. So this is like a u by v formula. So the differentiation of u by v is v du minus u dv by v square. So applying this differentiation, we get like this way. So the constant minus 2q cube by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now we are differentiating this one, v du. So a square plus y square whole power 3 by 2. dy, it gives you 1, so 1. Then we are keeping y constant. We are keeping y constant and then differentiating the denominator, that is 3 by 2 into a square plus y square whole power 1 by 2 into y square differentiation 2y by v square, that is a square plus y square whole power 3 by 2 whole square, which gives you a square plus y square whole cube, which is equal to 0. Now if you simplify this, we can write a square plus y square whole power 3 by 2 minus, here you can see here the 2 will be cancelled, 3y into y square, 3y square into a square plus y square whole power 1 by 2 is equal to 0. We can remove this a square plus y square whole power 3 by whole cube is equal to 0 and 2q cube by 4 pi epsilon is equal to 0. Now if you see here, a square plus y square whole power 3 by 2 is equal to 3y square into a square plus y square whole power 1 by 2. Now we can simplify this like this way, a square plus y square is equal to 3y square, because 3 by 2 1 by 2, so which results power 1. So then a square is equal to 2y square, then y is equal to y square is equal to a square by 2, then y is equal to a by root 2. That means at y is equal to a by root 2 distance, the force becomes maximum value. So if you draw a graph between force and distance, this is the y is the distance between the two charges This is a charge 1. This is a charge 2. Now you are keeping this is a minus q. Now this is the y distance. This is the y distance and this is the force. Now for small y distance, we know that F is directly proportional to minus y. So for small distance, F is equal to minus y. F is directly proportional to minus y, and it reaches to maximum at a distance y is equal to a by root 2. So it reaches to maximum at a distance y is equal to a by root 2. This is the maximum force, and from that the force is inversely proportional to r square. F is directly proportional to 1 by r square. This is how the force varies when you vary negative charge between these two along the y-axis. So initially, for small displacement, the charge exhibits a simple harmonic motion within this region. That means from here to here, the distance, the charge exhibits a simple harmonic motion, and the maximum force is at a by root 2 distance. This is the a, this is the a. And beyond this distance, if you go further, then the force is directly proportional to 1 by r square. That is the inverse square law. So this is how we can get a lot of information by using Coulomb's law. Now you can do some assignment. Two positive charged particles, each of mass 1.7 into 10 power minus 27 kg and carrying a charge of 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, are placed at a distance r apart. If one experiences a repulsive force which is equal to its weight, find r. So they are asking you, two charges are there, q1, q, they both are same charges and having mass, same mass, they are repulsive forces because two like charges are repelling. Now the repelling forces are equal to its weight, that is mg. So use the repulsive force F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square, which is equal to mg. From that you find the distance r. Very simple. Next assignment is, in a hydrogen atom, an electron of mass 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg revolves about a proton in a circular orbit of radius 0.53 angstrom units. Calculate the radial acceleration and angular velocity of electron with a charge 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So whenever you are doing any of this kind of problems, you not only need to know the Coulombic force of attraction or repulsion, but you should also know the problem in depth. That means here they have given you hydrogen atom. That means you should know the hydrogen atom, how it works. So in the hydrogen atom, we have a nucleus, and then above the nucleus there is an electron is revolving. Now whenever electron is revolving, there is a force of attraction. This is a proton, this is electron, so there is a force of attraction. This is the Coulombic force of attraction. Now if just the force of attraction works in the hydrogen atom, no, there will be equal force which is exactly working in opposite direction to the electrostatic force of attraction. That is the centripetal force. F is equal to m omega square r. M omega square r. Now equate these two so that you get omega square r. That is the acceleration, radial acceleration. From the radial acceleration you get again angular velocity. So you have to use this kind of concept. So with this way you can do these two assignments. Thank you so much for your attention. See you again. Thank you so much for your attention. See you again.